First, I would love it if y'all would all like collect in the middle because there's not many of us, and I'm gonna there's gonna be audience participation. So prepare yourselves. Also, I'm nervous. Helps if you're closer. Thank you. Okay, so my name is MB Pierce, and I manage a team of engineers at Red Hat. And let's see, we're going to be talking about career your career progression, and a lot of this is about getting into tech or some other thing that you feel like maybe you're not quite qualified for. And so in the interest of transparency, I will share that my career path has, when I compare it to those of my peers, mine is more like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride than the rest of, like anybody else I know. Some of the roles that I've had are camp director, teacher in high school and college. I was a therapist in like a regular therapy office and in the wilderness. I've been a logistics manager, a language interpreter. I was a quality engineer and a full stack developer, and now I'm a people manager at Red Hat. So all the things and some more that it was just too long to list. My goal today is to try and get folks to think differently about how you're approaching your career, and hopefully give you some tools that will help you make some decisions and take some actions that will get you more of what you want. So let's see. Oh, and I will also say that at any point in time, if you have questions or comments or whatever, just go ahead and throw them out there. Okay, so defining the problem. Look at these pictures and tell me what stands out. And they're small, sorry.
Everybody looks so the same.
Yeah.
I'm also seeing that the guys are the ones who are, or the people who appear as guys are the ones who are telling someone what to do, and the woman is sitting there taking notes.
Yeah, yep. And to repeat for the microphone, everybody looks the same as the other thing that I heard? Age, yes. Very defined age group. Anything else? Very sharp observation. Glasses and no glasses. So these are AI generated, and I asked Gemini, give me a picture of 5 average tech workers. That was the prompt, and this is what I got. So, the first thing that stands out to me, my reaction when I saw it, I was like, AI is like a toddler that's using its outside voice, sharing all the things that you said in private. That's what's happening here. So beyond that, because when I tried to, I couldn't let that go. Data, and I have to believe that this is none of this is new, so we're going to blast through it. 27% of tech jobs are held by women. Black people, 4%. Hispanic folks, 8%. Folks with neurodiversity and disability are around 20% of the population, and for neurodivergent folks, only 3% are in the tech field, and for folks with disabilities, it's 6%. So wildly disparate numbers. LGBTQIA folks, the percentage of people in tech who identify in that category is higher than the average population. However, 25% of those folks report having been discriminated because of their identity. And when you look specifically at trans and non-binary folks, I think it was over half of them report not feeling safe sharing, being their true selves in public or at work. So it's a huge problem. And it's an expensive problem because it's having a negative impact on what the industry is capable of doing. So what's the source of the problem? And when I have heard that question asked, the answer is always, oh, it's a pipeline problem. It's, there's bias in schools. There's socioeconomic biases. Loads of other similar biases that I, again, feel like is the tech industry saying, that's not my problem. It's not my fault. Somebody else did it. I can't fix it. I'll help you by doing a seminar, but it's not my fault. I don't think that that's the real problem. Because there are plenty of folks who have come from hard places and they're smart and they're capable, but when you don't see someone that looks like you or identifies like you up there doing the thing, it's really hard to believe that it's possible for you to do it. So lack of representation is a huge problem. Inclusion. Once someone who looks like me gets to the place and I'm the only one in the room, it's uncomfortable. It's hard to feel included, and it's hard to thrive if you don't feel included. And retention, like lacking those things, people aren't going to stick around. So I would argue that the real problem that we have are address those three things, and we'll be able to make some headway. Okay, where are we going next? Okay, so any individual can't change the system, but we all have the capacity to do things within our own power to make it better. And so the next little bit is I'm gonna have story time. Thinking back to that list of jobs that I've held, one of them was a wilderness therapist. And at that job, I lived in the woods in structures just like those that we built. The process of building it was draw it on graph paper with pencils and rulers, and then go cut the trees down with hand saws, and then skin the trees and cut them to length, and then make the notches and build them like Lincoln logs. And it was a month or two long process when your group was running well. We cooked our meals over a fire, and I think I said we didn't have electricity. On really good days, when we got all of our responsibilities taken care of on time, we might have a little extra time to go climb the live oak trees, and that was highlight of the day. But on bad days, it was a bonus if I got to brush my teeth, because there was just too much else going on. That was by far the hardest job I've ever had, and it is the job that I loved more than any other job I've ever had. So I share all of that with you because the skills that I learned at that job absolutely apply to my current job and all the others that I've had in between. And the thing that I'm hoping that I can impart is it's all about skill transfer. So when you are thinking about applying for a different kind of job, or looking at, I'd really love to do something related to this other thing, but you're I'm not qualified. I don't have I don't have the things they're looking for. I would argue that it is entirely possible to take what you have and make something out of it that will apply. So, as a wilderness therapist, we routinely did not have enough resources. We had to get stuff done like building those shelters with a team of moody adolescents as the people we were working with. Constant unforeseen challenges, conflict, skills gaps. Those kids showed up and had never held a hammer before, and and they were sent there by the courts, and we were giving them sharp tools and knives and things, and it was brilliant. I would go back in a heartbeat. Okay, so of those skills, to translate that to being a software engineer, I learned to think outside the box in really creative ways. Ever-changing parameters, you never know what's coming next. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to move on to the next thing? Most importantly, effectively defining the problem at hand. In any given moment, if things aren't going well, there's a problem. And if you can't define it, and if you can't name it and give it parameters, there's no way you're going to solve it. That was a huge learning. Teamwork, communication, all of those things, conflict resolution, you name it. That all goes into being an effective member of whatever kind of team, software engineering or any other kind. All right, so the next thing beyond your skills is thinking about your portfolio. How are you present in the world? What evidence do you have of what you're capable of? So contributions to open source projects, side projects that you've built just for fun, anything that showcases the skills that you have and how you're using them. You're leveraging these unusual skills in ways that make your contributions to the world evident. So, portfolio, and focusing on problem solving and positive outcomes and accomplishments. Job titles aren't nearly as important as what you did, what mattered while you were doing whatever that job was. Network. So in tech, there tends to be an overloaded, we are heavy on introverts. And as introverts, I am an introvert. It is really, networking makes me nervous. Having to talk to people, it's hard. You gotta do it anyway. There's no getting around that one. You have to buck up and talk to people and network and find connections. Figure out, how can I help you with that thing you're being challenged by? Or, I'm learning more about what you're doing, and it sounds a whole lot like what this other person is doing, and I feel like y'all should talk. Networking doesn't have to be all about having uncomfortable conversations with people. It's about connecting. It's like humans are neurons, and we're connecting to make something bigger. And then the job descriptions. So here's the really, I'm going to call it fun. It's not really fun, but I can't think of a better word. So hiring managers and recruiters are big dreamers. They have fantasies about what exists in the world and what they would like to see, and often they're just not realistic. So for instance, I've seen a job posting saying that they needed 5 to 7 years of experience working with X that had only been in existence for 3 years. So when you look at a job post, don't approach it as all or nothing. It's a general idea. And if you can get close to 60-70% of what's on there, you absolutely have as good a shot as anybody else, because job descriptions are written for unicorns and they just don't exist. Okay, let's see. Their wish lists. they don't, like, when, even if someone says that this skill is required and you don't have it, if you meet enough of the rest of it, and you can, and it seems like the sort of thing that you're like, I don't have it, but I've got this other thing that is similar that can transfer, that's a really easy thing to approach them and say, I don't, like, don't lie. Don't say, yeah, I totally know how to do that. But say, I don't have that, but here's how I learned this other similar thing, and my process was X, and it seems like a transferable skill, so I could get up to speed quickly. So, like, the bottom line here is don't self-reject. Start out with the attitude of, I could do that, and just go for it. Okay, let's see. Now, so here is where I would love to either have any questions anybody has about, going, like, applying for jobs, or where to look, or how to get started, or next career moves, or whatever. Or I have this skill that I feel like, or I need this skill and I'm not sure how to get it, or I don't know, like, I would love to hear if anybody is looking for a job and wants to, like, talk through how to apply, or I know, like, a lot of people are, I'm assuming, happy where they are. I don't know. But I will say, like, if there are folks that have similar stories about skills learned elsewhere, and how that transferred, I would love to hear that as well. So.
I can do a similar story.
Sure.
Similar story.
Bring it.
So I did not start in tech. Oh, yes, microphone, because this is being recorded, right? I did not start in tech. I actually started in Earth and Atmospheric Sciences. My degree is in meteorology. So I went from meteorology to being a research assistant in a literacy program to going and being, let's see, where I had like a whole checkerboard. I call it my checkerboard of experience. Did that, then went over and became a sales assistant for insurance, and then went and became a science educator at a science museum. So I know that outdoor sciencey stuff. And then I ended up as a science editor and a math and science exam editor. I got to take an exam every day. It was great. And then I ended up in tech. And basically, all of it was having no shame in saying, why not? What happens if I just toss my resume at this and find out? So a lot of it is that transfer of skills, like, hey, yeah, I can talk to people. I'm an introvert, but sure, why not? I can talk to people. Do I really want to talk to people? I don't know. I keep telling people, though, one of my jobs is to get up and give a presentation to tech people incessantly. And I always tell everyone, you aren't as scary as 8-year-olds who expect me to blow up a volcano every day. And I actually used that line on my hiring manager when I got my first developer advocacy job, and she thought it was hilarious, and she agreed. So, shared stories. It does happen, and it happens more often than you think.
Awesome. Thank you. You aren't as scary as 8. That's true. I can't think of anything scarier than a room full of 8-year-olds expecting an explosion.
Yep. Especially when the explosion doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I raced through all of my slides because I was, like, making time for interaction. So, but I totally understand if we, yeah. Microphone, right.
So I have a suggestion for Red Hat specifically, but there's stuff like this other places too. Red Hat has this thing called a gig, which I thought was really dumb when they first announced it. I'm like, why would I want another job besides the job that I have? And it's like you can have an opportunity to try working on something else for a while you do your regular job if your manager is okay with it. But we went ahead and posted some gigs to see what happened, and we got a chance to work with a whole bunch of really cool people who had really cool managers who were willing to let people branch out and grow, and they might end up transferring or they might end up just being more satisfied where they were. And we got a lot of good help on what we were doing. I'm in the research group, so we have a lot of flexibility, which helps. We don't have a product deadline, but so I would really recommend that, even though it sounds kind of lame when you read it on the HR website. A lot of other companies do similar things, and even if they don't, you can like go to your manager and say, "Hey, I've been working 60 hours a week. I'd like to take 8 hours a week and work on this other thing. And how could we work out a way to do that?" And most managers, like if they have any of your interest at heart, they'll negotiate and they'll figure out a way to do it. So that's a good way to transition.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Major.
So, I guess as someone who's gone through the introverted to somewhat extroverted transition, I think the one thing that helped me going through my career was sometimes when I found it hard to talk to people, I would offer to help with something. So instead of like, it's not me directly talking to the person, now we're talking about this other thing that's broken. And so that was something that's always fun for me. I fell into tech on accident. I wanted to go to medical school. And I had 81 rejection letters over a period of 3 years come in, and that was challenging. But I think the one thing that really got my career started was I got a really, really terrible job making minimum wage doing some tech stuff, just very light tech stuff, literally managing one server. And then finally, I asked people. I said, "Hey, what kind of code are y'all writing?" And it was like classic ASP. I don't know if anybody's written classic ASP in the old days. Ooh, it's nasty, and I'm afraid, yeah. But I ended up helping and ended up contributing some stuff, and I don't know, it opened the door to like 100 other things. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Offering to help is key.
I'm just going to tell a story. I don't know how much it pertains, but I was thinking back to your slide at the beginning, and talking about, who's at the job. So for me, I find that can really wear masks really well, and so I really like the job I have right now because I'm working with the kind of people I want to be working with, but I always counted it among my strengths to be able to work with anyone, and I just that the choices in my career have usually been around focused around things like burnout and unhappiness, like I've lived as an artist. I can live lean if I'm happy. And so maybe that's just my comment is that finding the people you want to work with and working with them can be so important, so much more than the number, maybe.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate you sharing that. All right. Anybody else? It's been a long day.
It has.
And I bet the exhaustion is.
I have
Yeah.
a hard question.
Okay,
Okay, because I came to this thinking that this is in a way we were going to be talking in one way or another in relation to the climate change around DEI. And I always like to ask, I think of hard questions. As an engineer, I think about how things fail. I think about worst case scenarios. So it's a tough question, but maybe, and I won't necessarily put you on the spot with it. I might put us on the spot with it. But it always struck me as the most difficult thing was, well, what do you do if the clients are discriminatory? What do you do if the marketplace is discriminatory? So, I've always said, hey, how come we don't have more diversity here in the part that we do control? And then the question might be, well, it turns out that we sell to a market that is maybe really behind the times when it comes to what's really going on. And I don't have an answer to that, but I always like to bring that up to say, like, I feel like that's what we're up against. That if any one of us were to say, we're gonna broaden our concept of who we want to hire, we're gonna broaden our concept of who belongs here, and all that, we might be dealing with a marketplace or that says like, no, we're the ones telling you we don't like that, and to me, it's always just been a very brave act then to show up as myself, to try to say, hey, maybe you should consider that there's more going on with y'all than you realize, that you would gain some advantages to seeing yourself and the things that you do more. But it seems like it can be a tough sell. I don't know if there's any comment to be said about that, but that always struck me as the hard part is it's a very vulnerable act, to grow and to change, and that we might be leaders, and then that means that the people we're trying to lead, they're not going to be pulling it out of us. We will be changing it for them.
Yeah, that is a really hard question, and I don't have an answer. I don't have like a wrapped up answer in a package for you, but the way my brain works is like I think about individuals as members of a system of people in a kind of the same way that a company is like an individual in a system of companies. And I think that we can show up and be the representation in the room so that, we are there at, like showcasing what is possible, and theoretically, some organizations are gonna like not even notice. Some organizations are gonna be like, well, they figured it out, why can't we? And follow the lead. And some organizations are gonna be mad and take their ball and go home. But I would hope that we collectively show up as the the representation in the room as best we can, and make the world a better place, slowly and painfully.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have such a interesting background as you guys, but I did the more traditional, got a computer science degree, went into high tech, stayed in high tech. But I really like the picture you showed. I tried to do a similar picture and got mostly guys in suits and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, software engineers don't wear suits. But then I wonder, who trained that model? So is it just like this perpetuation of biases?
Yeah.
And so I had a fun time arguing with my AI to get a picture. I'm like, put T-shirts on these people, like show more women, show some older people, show some people with white hair. It's like, so I tried to get like a really diverse picture of people. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I've absolutely argued with it about that kind of stuff, and like instead of like giving it more specific instructions, I've called it out. I've been like, "You're perpetuating the bias," and it's like, "You're right, I am."
Yeah.
Like, go. It was Gemini.
Very complimentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a response to that. Sorry, I'm making you run for it. So, a couple things. One, if you have not watched, there is a wonderful talk. I think it was given at a lead dev conference. A researcher went through and talked about the systematic bias in visual models specifically. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, so it's not during the current crop of AI models. But they were showing how, because of the way the training sets were put together and how old some of them were because it was in public domain or this or that or the other, that helped perpetuate some of these stereotypes that we see everywhere, because they're trying to take pictures of this and that. And then, there were other things that were not great about these models. You probably have heard about it from some of Google's stuff. Because I think some of them were coming out of Google's research arm on AI and ML at the time. So highly recommend watching it. Really, really good talks. It wasn't TED Talks. I'm pretty sure it was lead dev. It might have been Ada or Grace Hopper. I can't remember which one, but highly recommend going to see that. And also, apparently arguing with the LLM is actually making it worse or something. So Ars Technica had a really great talk on that. I just want to kind of come back though to the system question, and you're kind of mentioning the system idea, but system science says that if you go through and you start to see changes in little bits of the system, it's going to eventually perpetuate throughout the system. So even if small pieces change, you've already changed the entire system because of the way that everything works. So it's never going to be the same the more that we do little things. So when we talk about what power we have, it has more to do with start where you are, because you might not be able to influence everything, but you're already influencing things because of the way that systems theory works. So in case that kind of helps a little bit, provide a little bit of scientific grounding, I will get off my nerdy scientist soapbox now.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah. To that point, not sure the TED Talk, but there's a book and like a Netflix documentary that I believe I watched. It was Coded Bias.
Okay.
I believe from a few years ago.
Okay.
And that was really, this is pre-Gen AI boom. This is talking about computer vision and facial recognition software, and how some folks were being misclassified as criminals just because there wasn't a representative sample in the
Right.
data set.
Yeah.
Or the sample that was represented in the data set were associated with criminals. So it was a lot of misclassification. And the other is, I think, Weapons of Math Destruction. Really good book.
Okay.
It talks about like the algorithms and all the bias and like, you know, everything behind it. So yeah.
Excellent.
This is my
Excellent.
2 cents.
Thank you so much.
Hmm?
Now I have like a reading list and a viewing list, and I'm gonna be busy. I love it.
All right, quick thing for me. One more thing on the extrovertedness. If you have trouble doing it in large groups, I think one thing that helps is always having a mentor, and always having a mentee. And I've heard so many people tell me, "Oh, I can't mentor somebody. Like I don't know enough to do that or whatever." And I was like, no matter who you are, even if you're a junior person that just joined a company, you can mentor someone. Even if you're a college student, you can mentor someone else. Like there's no excuse. And it's a really good way to have that one-on-one conversation. It might help you branch out to bigger things.
Yeah. Good call. Awesome. All right. Last call. Anybody?
All right.
All right.
I'll I don't know, say something, but I like how you framed this as a skills transfer problem rather than a pipeline or ladder climbing problem, because to me, like, my personal experience has always been like every job I've ever applied for, like, I'm grossly underqualified for. And it's also funny to me being on this side of the fence. Like, a lot of times I will read job recs for people into my team. I'm like, I couldn't even get that job. Like, and I'm like, I'm literally doing the job. So I've always felt there's a huge disconnect between this. I find those descriptions, the job requirements, to be super discouraging, because I'm like, I feel like I'm capable, but I don't think I meet these standards. So just as an encouragement to go apply anyway. And then, like, as far as, like, again, I like the skills transfer thing. One of the reasons I love working in open source and Red Hat in general is the communities. And my job as a participant in a community, and even if I end up having like a leadership position or a position of influence in a community, I have a responsibility to make that community inclusive and safe. And even if I can't change the world, I can change my little corner of it. And you better be darn sure that my community is going to be inclusive and accepting and open, because it makes everybody better the more people we have. And the more voices we include and the more people we encourage to join. I've personally benefited from a lot of input and mentorship. And so I just do my best to everything that has been poured into me to pass forward. As many people as I can get to listen to me yakking, I will talk to you all day about anything you want to talk about. Because, you know, sharing is caring. But anyway, I just like the whole notion of, like, skills transfer is how we help people. And I'm like, that's sweet. I like talking to people about nerdy tech things or just whatever. So just the more we share, and the more we make people feel included and welcome, and, you know, there's no dumb questions, no judgments, and, you know, and stand up and call out behavior like that when you see it. Say, like, that's not appropriate. Let's not treat people that way. You know, you don't have to use, like, you know, feel good buzzwords. Just be like, just don't be like that. You know, like, no, that's not how we roll here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the discussion. It's like we're out of time. I don't know, the buzzer's like blinking at me, and I don't know what that like. Y'all are welcome to. It's fine with me if you stay, but mostly thank you. And Sam, like what you just shared, like absolutely ties in with what you shared, and your name has escaped. Laura shared about like a tiny change in a system. You've changed the system. So like keep at it, y'all. Thank you so much.